This is horrific for anyone to say, but especially someone who has like a very famous case of a woman being lobotomized in the 60s. How can you say, like, where are all the headbanging autistic elderly people? They were lobotomized. They were institutionalized.
They were put away. They were killed.
They were sent away to institutions. They're probably homeless on the streets if they didn't die.
Right. And they died from exposure. They died from starvation. They died.
Yes.
Right? That's why we don't see them in the nursing homes, because they don't exist anymore, but they existed at one point.
Either that or they're working on a huge spoon collection, you know?
Right.
Those are the two sides. Yeah.
Exactly. So it drives me nuts when he says this, because he's just so wrong.
I hate when they pretend like they're asking a legitimate question, but it's like, well, if they think it's like a gotcha of like, then how come we don't see any toe walkers?
There's a very obvious reason why. It's like, because they died.
The source, think about it for 2 seconds.
Yeah, just take a moment.
Think about it.
Just take a moment.
Yeah.
Use that noggin, what's left of it.
Yeah, I know the worms done
really,
quite a bit of damage, yeah.
But if you could just rub 2 neurons together.
Yeah, before the worm gets them.
Yeah.
Because he's coming. He's coming.
He's coming after those last 2.
Yep.
They said that we'd grow out of it. Well, the joke's on them, that's just our brains. We're eccentric, loud, and stubborn. And most of our clothing is covered in stains. It's not a deficit of attention. There's just too much to think about. So if executive dysfunction becomes a little too much, if you forgot why you came in this room, or you're hypersensitive to touch, then put on your seamless socks and come join our little flock. Bitches stimming together, we're weirds of a feather. Weirds of a feather.
All right. We are recording.
We're recording.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
Here we are.
We are here.
We are here. We're recording.
And most importantly, we're recording.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also we're here.
And we're here.
Yeah.
Physically.
Bases have all
Mentally.
been covered. Mentally, I am on another plane.
Yeah, we're about to be on several planes of despair. But here we go.
Welcome to the Planes of Despair.
An AuDHD-Adjacent podcast.
Yeah. That's actually a sick fucking name for a podcast.
Yeah.
The Planes of Despair.
It should be the title of this episode.
Yeah. I think it might have to be.
Welcome to Weirds of a Feather, an AuDHD-Adjacent podcast. I'm your host, Kristin Stanhope.
And I'm your host, Grace Bray.
And man, do we have a really uplifting, inspiring episode. Just kidding. It's going to suck. But we're going to get through it because it's important.
Yes.
But first,
do it together.
Yeah, we're all going to take a deep breath. We're going to talk about it. We're going to process it. And we're probably not going to feel great at the end of the day.
No.
And that's okay.
Life's not about feeling great.
No.
Should be.
Should be.
Unfortunately, it's not.
And most of the time we cover silly subjects or interesting subjects. And this is, I don't think, either.
It is
necessary,
informative
and necessary to talk about.
Yes, but the whole situation in itself is just fucking stupid. Of like, how are we here as a society?
I don't know. Let's do a warm-up question first.
Yeah,
are you warm?
Let's get some laughs out.
Yeah, let's get the sillies out before we be before we be sad.
Before we be sad, let's be happy before we be sad. Good plan.
All right.
Yeah.
I have a warm-up questions.
All right.
A warm-up question, just one.
Okay.
Confusing. Yeah, I really am on a ringer today.
Yeah. What's going on?
So, cloves.
I know them.
You know them. The smell, the taste, the feel.
Very familiar with the feel, yes. Yeah.
Are cloves Christmas?
Yes.
Are they associated with Christmas?
Yes.
Because I don't
Cloves are Christmas.
No.
Yes.
I disagree. I think cloves, I don't know what, they're not Christmas. I think
what are they?
Allspice. Cloves are cloves.
But what do you associate with cloves? No time of the year, no holiday, no type of food.
You know what I associate cloves with is the organic chemistry lab in college because we had a 4-part lab, like a 4-week session on how to like extract clove oil from cloves, and I don't even think we did it right.
What?
It was every lab I came home for a month smelling like cloves.
Oh.
Because it was just cloves. It was a clove lab. It was a whole big thing.
Okay.
I don't even know what I learned.
So
That's
for you, cloves are lab. For me, cloves are Christmas. Because I feel like cloves are, I just feel like they're such a heavily a heavily Christmas spice, you know? Like
I think
it's in allspice. I feel like they're a very, very strong, overpowering smell. They're like allspice to me smells like allspice smells like cloves.
Is
It's
allspice
cloves, nutmeg, and cinnamon, right?
allspice? Isn't allspice its own thing?
I think it's just a bunch of spices.
I thought
I think it's all the spices. I think allspice
I think allspice isn't there. Oh man. I thought allspice was its own separate thing.
I thought allspice was combined, but maybe you're right.
Cue the music.
Allspice, also known as pimento, is a dried unripe berry. All right, you're right. I thought it was just a combo.
I think.
Says the English named it in the 1620s for its complex flavor that resembles a blend of cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves.
Resembles,
So that's
but
why
it's different.
You're right. I just assumed it was a combo of those three because
Nope.
that's what it smells like. Okay, so allspice and
different.
cloves to me are Christmas. It's what I put in my little simmer pot in the winter. It's what you add to, I don't know, like a fancy nutmeg or a fancy eggnog.
Oh.
Right? You do it like nutmeg and cloves.
I don't make
Cookies,
fancy eggnog
maybe?
because I would be in the emergency room.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad time.
Not great.
Yeah.
No amount of lactate pills will be able to help me recover from that.
Every like 5 to 7 years, I have a hankering for eggnog and I have one glass. I'm like, that was good. And then it disgusts me for the next 5 to 7 years.
My grandfather used to be a truck driver for Hood Dairy. So he used to bring gallons of eggnog from Thanksgiving through Christmas. And my mom would be like, you need to finish this eggnog because your grandfather's going to bring more. And we're like, Mom, please no, I can't. It's so much.
I drank expired eggnog at Haley's house.
Was it just
when we
curdled?
were in like 3rd grade and I have never moved past it.
I don't blame you.
I've never gotten over it.
God.
It was so terrible.
That sounds disgusting.
Right? Like I'm already so sensitive to the idea of drinking milk. And then this was like, eggnog is like a thicker
It's so
milk.
thick.
And then it was old and expired. Literally my nightmare.
No.
But yeah, to summarize, cloves are Christmas and I am right. And you are wrong.
Disagree. I allspice and cinnamon.
And cloves. Oranges. Didn't people used to push the cloves into oranges? And that was like an old-fashioned Christmas decoration?
Yeah. I don't think
cloves. Those were cloves.
I know they were cloves. I know what a clove is.
Do you?
I do. Yeah.
When else besides the lab are you having cloves outside of Christmas time?
Thanksgiving.
That's Christmas time. That's in the Christmas time vicinity.
I guess so.
You having springtime cloves? I don't think so.
I guess cloves in itself, I don't associate with Christmas for some reason.
I do. The whole reason this discussion even came about is because Kristin gave me clove gum, which tastes like, I chewed it and said, this tastes like Christmas. And I spit it out.
And I said, no, it tastes like
it.
Cloves.
And I said, cloves are Christmas.
And I said that I disagree. And here we are.
And we said, let's debate on the podcast.
I love clove gum.
I don't. You're such an old man.
I am an old man.
That is like a gum from the Depression era.
Right?
Cloves.
And you can only get it at Joann Fabrics, who's out of business now.
R.I.P. Where are you going to get your clove gum?
Where am I going to get my clove gum?
Oh my God, you're going to have to import it?
Right?
Yeah, from the old countryside.
From
someone's great-great-grandfather probably works hard on that.
I like the way that it makes my tongue numb.
Ew, just chew cinnamon gum like a normal person.
I do like cinnamon
clove gum.
But something about, I wish they would make cinnamon clove gum. That would be like the ultimate gum.
I don't think cloves are a good enough taste for me to want it to last in my mouth via a gum.
Well, luckily the gum kind of sucks and the taste doesn't, it's like there for about a minute and then it's gone and then you spit it out.
I spit it out about 30 seconds, so I didn't even get to that point. But why would I want a gum that I just have to wait it out for it to lose its flavor? What if I just chewed gum I liked?
I mean,
instead?
Yeah, you can go ahead and do that, but I like the clove gum.
You're nuts.
Someone else.
You're an undertaster, and this is officially convincing me that you are.
Someone else. I'm not the only one who likes clove gum. I'm going to take a poll.
Please tell us if you chew clove gum.
Yes.
And
where are you getting it besides Joann Fabrics? Because I need another source.
Yeah, you need a hookup. Do you even know what clove gum is, listeners out there? Because it's not really a common product.
Someone else, there's going to be someone out there who's
from
like
1910 who's like, I've grown up on clove gum. We chewed it when there was no food in the pantry. Kept our mouths moist.
It was made out of pine bark back in the day, you see?
Yeah, you gnaw on the cloves. Has a nice dirt taste.
Yeah.
Tastes like Christmas. That's what they would say.
I like clove gum.
I don't.
It's not like a long-standing gum. It's like a little treat, and then you spit it out.
A little treat should be good.
Yes.
Little treats are good.
It is good.
No, it is bad.
It is. It's a nice sensation.
I don't agree, but we have to move on.
Of like my entire mouth is like semi-numb.
I don't enjoy that feeling, and I don't really understand wanting it, but
I like it.
DSDF. Different strokes for different folks. That's what Brooke and Connor say. DSDF.
I like that. That is nice.
It's the human experience. Yeah.
So, well, we are different people.
We are.
And I'm sorry you can't enjoy the magical non-Christmas associated clove gum.
I wish I could, but sorry. I can't because cloves are Christmas and that's all there is to it.
Yeah. Well, do you feel Christmas magic now that you've had clove
No,
gum?
because I spit it out because I said it's almost June. I don't want to feel the Christmas magic. I'm spitting this out. Ah, fuck. I really need to RSVP to a wedding before June 1st. I got 2 days.
You got 2 whole days.
How many days are in June or in May? 30 days.
I should probably pay my bills. There's 31 days in June, right?
All right. Yeah. So I got 3 days. I got 3 days.
You got 3 whole days.
And is that rude to wait until the absolute last second to RSVP? Of course it is. But like, if you give me a date, that's when I'm going to RSVP.
Right.
Because I'm always like, I have months to respond to this.
Do you have to mail it in?
No, it's a website.
Thank God. You're fine.
Smart. Good thinking, though. I got it. I got
You're
plenty of
fine.
time.
Plenty of time.
Sorry, Campbell. We'll be there.
They're listening to this like, God damn it.
Where is her RSVP? Just
go
on the
waiting for
website.
this. Yeah.
Takes 2 seconds.
Just go on the website. It's automatic.
Like, I've always known I was going to go. I've never not known I was going to go. I haven't been like,
you got to pick out your food.
To make it. I know. Like,
you got to do this.
It's always been a yes. I'm just like, I just put it off.
I'm going to remind you later tonight.
Are you?
No,
you're going to forget.
Definitely. I'm going to, the second I walk out of here, I'm going to forget everything we talked about.
Same.
Which is good because we have a very upsetting topic.
Yeah. Let's get into it. Oh,
yeah. But first, we got little accomplishments.
Thought I had a good transition.
Yeah, I know. It was.
Shucks.
We could skip little accomplishments.
No, the people have to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Want to do a song?
Yeah. I'm having a moment.
What's happening in the moment?
What's the song?
Little accomplishments but big.
Oh my God.
What's the fucking song?
It's all the clove gum.
Yeah, those cloves are going straight to your brain.
Straight to the dome. Yeah. All right. I'm ready.
Okay. Little accomplishments but big in our hearts. Great. That's the song and we all know it. Yeah. We've never questioned it.
Grace.
Yes.
What have you accomplished?
I made a fantastic homemade double chocolate cake for Ian's birthday the other day.
One, I thought for sure that was a professional cake. It looked
you did.
So good.
Right?
I'm
very happy with it.
I'm excited to steal a piece when you're not looking.
I need you to take a piece.
I'm taking
and I will be looking while you do it because that cake is so big.
It's so big.
It's
like 3 tiers.
It's 2.
It looks bigger than that.
It's very big. And normally I make him a carrot cake every year, which is 3 tiers. Like the first year I made that, we ended up eating it for like 2 months. We kept it in the fridge and we just like, it was the biggest fucking cake in the world. And we just ate it for literally 2 months out of the fridge.
You need to throw him like an actual birthday party so you can have more people over for cake.
I know. That's the problem because I really like making these big fancy cakes. Yeah. But then it's like, now that I guess the 2 of us have to eat this whole cake. But okay, that's fitting though, because I was trying to make him a Matilda chocolate cake. Come on, Brucey, you can do it. Talk about the world's best looking chocolate cake of all time. But the recipe was very good. I'm trying not to be my harshest critic. The cake came out really well and I'm very proud of it.
It looks fantastic.
It's very good. I will say, as good as it is not a Matilda cake and I'm like offended that this person on Pinterest labeled their chocolate cake a Matilda cake. It's not nearly chocolatey enough. Like, it's chocolatey and it's very good. It's just not a Matilda cake. And like, don't try to be something you're not.
I'm excited to try it.
Okay. It's like an adult cake, you know?
Oh, no, I don't want
18 up. No, but it's more like it has more mature.
Does it have cloves in it?
No, but it does have coffee, and I'm saving a little bit of that for a future pizza secret of me trying to figure out how to make coffee for this cake. That was like half of the challenge because Ian was not around. So I'm going to save that for the future.
I know how to use your coffee maker.
No, I wasn't here. I was staying at Lauren's because she was having the baby. And so it was me and her 19-year-old daughter who also doesn't drink coffee. So it was like two apes trying to like figure out how to crack open a coconut. It took us literally an hour.
Can't.
I'll save it.
Yeah, save it. Another day.
Yes. But yeah, like you would expect a Matilda cake to just be like tons and tons of chocolates, like very rich and moist. It just, you know, this cake had coffee and you use like cocoa powder, and it's just, it tastes more like an adult cake than like a kid's birthday cake. And that's really what I feel like is the essence of a Matilda cake, is like a sloppy.
Yeah, I want it like
chocolate.
Super moist and like gooey.
Exactly, with like so much chocolate. So it was very good. I'm very proud of it. It looks legit. I'll post a picture of Ian blowing out his candles, but ultimately not a Matilda cake. But yeah, it was very good.
I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm excited for you to try a piece.
I'm excited.
Kristin,
yeah.
What did you accomplish?
This is like my biggest accomplishment. Mowed the lawn.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I thought your dad mows the lawn.
One, sometimes. But it was so it's been so rainy this whole May. And then every time it's sunny, I'm working. Christopher's working. And or it's like it's finally nice out. We get home. We're exhausted. We have to cook dinner. We don't have time to mow, you know?
You don't have like a neighborhood boy in the neighborhood? Well, like there's no boys around?
Sorry, I'm not looking for boys.
Where's
in
your
my
neighborhood boy? Why don't you have a boy?
I'm the boy.
There's got to be like a 12-year-old middle school kid
who can
like,
come over and mow the lawn.
Yeah, that's what you need.
The thing is, it was so long because it's been so rainy. And
you think the neighborhood boy can't handle a long lawn?
It took me forever. I had to adjust my lawnmower to like, I had to go over it twice because it was too lush for the usual like trim that I do.
You're actually not supposed to mow in May. But
we always do no mow May by default because we.
No, you haven't.
Yes, we have.
It's May.
Well, I mean,
and you just mowed.
I know.
You haven't done no mow May.
One, it got out of hand. Like there was so much grass. I found a little field mice just hanging out in the grass. They were like making a nest. I was like, not anymore,
you
guys.
Chopped up their home?
Well, I mean, I had to get them out of there. I'm like, I gotta mow. Fine, I shoot them over to a wood pile. I was like, this is a much better home. Upgrade for you guys.
You're right. That's a solid.
You're welcome.
Solid place.
Yeah. It was a stupid home that they didn't even make a home. It was dumb.
It was a house. It wasn't a home.
But like it was so long, I had to adjust my lawnmower to make it up the like chassis up higher. I don't know what that's called.
Yes, the chassis.
Yeah, it's not.
You don't know what it's called, but you just called it a chassis.
Yeah,
where'd that word?
Well,
come?
the chassis is like the chassis of a car, right? Like
you're asking the wrong guy.
Lawn people know.
Chessie from Parent Trap?
No,
That's
not
the
Chessie. The chassis.
Chessie, I know.
Chassis. No.
I don't know that word. Sorry, I don't know her.
The bottom of the lawnmower had to be lifted up.
Yeah, the butt.
I don't think it's called the butt.
Yeah, it's called the butt.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you gotta lift the butt.
The blades were higher, so the blades of grass were higher, so then I had to re-go over it to make it nice and small. Yeah, it was a whole fucking process.
Make it nice and small. Make that grass small.
Yeah. I don't want to do it again for a long, long time.
Well, you know what could solve all these problems? Neighborhood boy. Find a boy who lives in the neighborhood. Yeah, calling all
I'm going to
boys.
put it on the telephone poles looking for boys.
Looking for a neighborhood boy, a local boy.
Looking for local boys.
You can be a girl as well. Girls can mow lawns as well. But just in my neighborhood, it's all the boys who have had lawn care businesses. And we've got like 4 boys.
I
want to borrow one of my boys?
I would love to borrow a boy.
You want to borrow a local boy?
Hey, Grace, can I borrow one of your boys?
Yeah, I got a boy.
I got a boy for that.
I got a few different boys.
I don't have a local boy. I have a bunch of elderly people who live near me.
Gotta have a local boy.
I would love a local boy.
Yeah.
Or I have Marty, but it was like too embarrassing. I didn't even want them to come over the other day because I was like, the lawn is embarrassingly long.
I don't relate to that at all.
But
I wouldn't give a single fuck about how long my lawn is. If it wasn't for Ian, I would be
like, we're getting like ticks.
Scary house on the street of like never mowing my lawn. So,
well,
can't relate. It was fearing judgment from parents about that. If my dad came over and said something, I'd be like, you mow it then. I don't care.
Well, that's why I need a boy.
You need a local boy.
I need a local boy.
Yeah. If you're a local boy,
reach out to us. Yeah.
Sign your kids up to be Kristin's local boy.
Local boy.
Or girl.
I can pay you in eggs or in returnables.
Yeah. Or money, because you do have a job.
I do have a job.
And you could easily pay a
we
local
can figure out a
child.
bartering system. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Well, congratulations on mowing the lawn.
Thank you. It was a big feat.
It sounds like it.
It took me all day.
Don't do that ever again.
I know. I don't want
It's a
to.
nightmare.
Yeah.
You're 35 years old. That's one of the few perks of being an adult is you no longer have to mow the fucking lawn.
No, that's what you do when you're 35 years old. You worry about your appliances and you mow the lawn.
I'm not worried at all.
Well, that's because you just got a brand new dishwasher.
Yeah, we did. Because ours stopped working. Well, the top part of the dishwasher stopped working, so we were just using the bottom level for a while.
Solution.
It was a temporary solution. And
then how did that work?
It should have given us time to buy a new one. You know, like that would have been really nice if we're like, great,
instead
half of it
just
still
rushing
works.
in.
Yeah, instead of just riding that out until that inevitably broke and then spending 2 weeks without a dishwasher, which is what happened. But you know what? we pulled it off. We got it together. Ian found us one. It was only like $4.50 on sale. I think it was like a return or something. It works great. Works like a dream. Cleans all the dishes. No harm, no foul.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And
the plates are clean.
Yeah, that's important. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
That's an accomplishment.
Thanks. Kind of just commandeered your accomplishment.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let's talk about my dishwasher.
Yeah.
But
That's
congrats on your lawn.
Thank you.
Find a local boy, and this won't have to happen again.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah. You ready to get into this meat?
Nah. Let's just end it here.
Yeah.
We've had a
end
good
on
time.
A high. Yeah, we're good. All right. This has been our episode.
Thanks for listening.
Goodbye. No, we have to talk about it. It's important.
Womp womp.
And I also was up very late watching a lot of YouTube videos, so we're doing this.
Now you're going to hear about it.
Now you're going to hear about it, because if I'm upset, you should be too.
Great.
Who are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about Robert Kennedy Jr., who is, yes, related to that Kennedy. He's part of the Kennedy family. He is the nephew of JFK, who was a former president who got shot in the head very dramatically.
That's so hard for me to like wrap my brain around because RFK is now older than JFK was when he was assassinated.
Yeah.
So it's weird to think about RFK being JFK's nephew.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how time works.
I know, but it's like nephews shouldn't be old men, you know?
Yeah.
No one should have an old man who's a nephew.
Yeah.
They should just die off when you die, you know?
Yeah. He references his uncle often. And I think it's interesting because RFK Jr. is part of the Republican Party, and JFK is very would have hated him. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, but so RFK Jr., he's a lawyer, he's an American politician, he's a known conspiracy theorist who's published many books, and he is the newly appointed secretary of the HHS, which
USA! We're such a smart country.
Right.
Only our best of the best.
Yeah, so a little concerning, right? And then why are we talking about him? Because he's an idiot who's been given an incredible amount of power that will indefinitely affect the lives of all Americans.
Yeah, we're going to be maybe like making some jokes or taking little jabs at him, but ultimately, at the end of the day, this man is like very dangerous.
Yeah, like incredibly dangerous and should not be on public television or making any sort of like medical decisions.
I think he's already led to kids dying by foregoing their vaccines and then dying of the measles or whatever. So he's already killed people and he's only going to do more.
Right. And the thing is there's so much that is wrong about what he believes in, but we're going to focus in on one thing because there's so much we could focus in on, like the measles and his response to COVID.
How about the whale beheading?
or leaving a bear carcass
in Central Park.
Yeah. Or the worm in his head. Or why is his voice like that? Why is his voice like that? I don't know. I was going to look into it. I didn't have time because there's so much.
Yeah, there's like way too much.
Why is he like this?
He's like a cartoon villain.
Right. Exactly. He is a villain.
If you don't know about the whale beheading, look it up. It's obviously not his worst thing he's ever done.
It isn't.
But it's a crazy thing to do.
We're going to talk about some of the worst things that he's done.
Yeah.
So in HHS, what is the HHS? Is the U.S. Department of the Health and Human Services, which is a branch off of the executive department. Whoop, I'm hitting my microphone. I'm already upset.
You're worked up.
I'm worked up.
George is getting upset.
So it's a branch of the executive department that's responsible for providing essential services to improve the health and safety of the American people. It's like there's about 28 like subdivisions of the HHS, which include the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, and the National Institute of Health, the NIH, which is like where all of the research for all of modern medicine in America is done. These are really, really, really important things. Other things are like the SNAP program, the Meals on Wheels program. All these things are part social services. All these are part of HHS. And so when you have a fucking idiot in charge of it, bad things are going to happen.
Perfect level of responsibility for a man with brainworms.
Right. Just one worm.
Oh, just one?
I think it's one big worm.
One big one?
One big worm. I didn't even have time to get into it, but I'm pretty sure it's one big worm.
Okay, good to know. And it was him who said that, right? He said, I have a brainworm.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's died, apparently.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's still in there dead? Or it came out?
I don't know.
We gotta get more info on the
job.
Yeah.
God damn it. What the fuck, worm?
Eat that brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it has, actually. I think it has.
Yeah, I know. This is why we're here.
Yeah.
So what does RFK Jr. believe? He has a long-standing history of being a vaccine skeptic, including COVID, including MMR, which is the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, which is why we currently have a measles outbreak in Texas that has killed children. He's an instigator of hate towards Dr. Fauci. And actually, I forget which article I was reading, but he's like one of the top two, like in his online trail, he's like one of the top two like instigators of hate towards Fauci, which is pretty incredible considering our president was like trying to get people to kill him.
Yeah.
Right?
It's hard to beat that.
An HIV AIDS denier, a chemtrail conspiracy believer, and has a history of saying things riddled with medical racism.
Isn't he also like super against Narcan, despite him being an addict for 15 years?
Yes, that's another thing. Yep. Like I said, there's so much, like we're just like touching on the surface, right? So there's so much we could talk about because there's so much wrong. And
what if the brainworm's at the controls?
What
if he's steering the ship?
This is it. It's like it's a Ratatouille situation.
Yeah, but with one big worm.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we gotta write this.
Oh my God, the worms.
Ratatouille, but with RFK and a brainworm, and it's like pulling on him. He's going this way and that way.
He's like, you must say no to vaccines.
Say they cause autism.
Yeah.
Behead a whale. Strap it to your car.
There's so much. There's too much. So today we're going to try and we're just going to kind of narrow it down onto something he has said recently. I think it was April 10th is when everything started happening. Now it's the end of May. By the time this comes out, it's going to be like mid-June maybe.
Yeah.
So a lot has happened since then, but let's talk about his plan to find the cure, as he said, for autism, which is problematic. But before we get into it, let's just recap some of his plans for HHS. So his plan is to decrease/eliminate several agencies and combining them into a new organization called the Administration for Healthy America, or the AHA, which he keeps talking about, the AHA. AHA.
The sounds are easier for him to make. He just has to open his mouth a little.
The worm's like poking out, saying it's it instead. This eliminated 20,000 jobs, which is crazy. From the HHS, cutting grants to life-saving research, cutting overall around $750 million from the agency. And some of this was already pre-approved money, which is why he's now, I think he's in like a House hearing or a Senate hearing, some sort of deposition, because he and the Trump administration have denied like pre-approved funding that Congress has already. So what Congress does is Congress approves how the money is supposed to be spent. So some of this money that they're denying has already been approved by Congress. So now you have this like balancing of the three branches of the government, where you have one branch saying, yes, please spend the money like this, and then the executive branch trying to overhaul that. That's not how our government is supposed to work. So that's why he's in this hearing. That's why there's a lot of stuff on C-SPAN right now about him denying money to NHS. And there's so much. John Oliver has a really nice blurb about it. It's on YouTube. I highly recommend watching it. It will make you feel bad, of course.
What I don't understand is like all the, not the Republicans up top, because they obviously benefit from all of this by just being horrific people who kill Americans and impoverish us. But like for regular, everyday Republicans, I truly don't understand the thought of like, they're saving us money. But like, where does the money go, and why do you think you'll be getting some? Like when they're so like, I feel like so many Republicans are like obsessed with this idea that Elon Musk and RFK and Trump are saving us money. It's like
by getting rid of all these unnecessary services. I think
like
that
you benefit from. It's like, where do you think the money is going? Where do you think you'll see it?
Yeah, the government is so complicated. I think like even learning about this, like I didn't know that the HHS was so over-compassed like all these different agencies. It's so complicated. I think it's just you just have like some dumb idiot being like, we're gonna cut money and we're gonna give it back to the people,
and they're like, yay,
yeah, but really it's like where they're cutting money that like the most needy need, like services that provide places that provide services to like the most needy. And then
it's usually
all that,
those people.
Those
same people.
Yeah, so I think it's just like all in all, we just don't understand our own government and how crucial some of these services are until they're gone.
Yeah.
So one thing that John Oliver pointed out is that they cut the funding. They totally eliminated like the department that oversees and helps public buildings contain like lead paint and how to get rid of that. And then so they cut the entire department, and then they immediately like regretted it and hired everybody back. Yeah. So I think that's a lot of that's happening right now.
They're cutting stuff as if it's like this surplus unnecessary stuff, but everything they're cutting is like that was in place for a reason.
Yeah.
And we kind of needed our milk to be tested.
Right.
And for us to not have lead in the walls. So.
Exactly. So our international listeners are probably like, what?
I know. Well, Jane and I have been messaging a bit about RFK, and she's like just as upset as we are.
It is upsetting. So RFK Jr. has started / joined this what's called the MAHA movement, which is another word you'll hear, which is called Make America Healthy Again.
Another easy sound to make if you just kind of hang your mouth open. MAHA.
MAHA. The focus is to decrease chronic illness in America. Some of the policies RFK is making seem good for the American people. I'm not going to lie to you. Some of them seem nice. Like he wants to get rid of the use of a lot of petroleum-based food dyes, which Europe has already done, and I think would be okay. He wants to decrease pesticides that are used on crops, which, sure, the farming community is really upset about it. I don't know enough to have an opinion about it.
I feel like he doesn't know enough to make that decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's the thing. Even if
because he's a conspiracy theorist.
Exactly.
He's not a scientist, and he's not a health practitioner.
Like anything that you think he's trying to do for good, he's not. Because he's not smart enough to do it. And if he actually wanted to do good, he would hire scientists and other people who are experts to be like, what's the best way? Yeah, and he's like, fire them.
I think there's a lot of issues with the FDA. I think there's a lot of issues for sure with the EPA. I think there are issues, but I don't think this is the way of going about it.
No, it's the same as like the education system.
Yes.
And like what our country has done has systemically dismantled the education system. They've created all these standards and expectations for testing. They've fired teachers. They've made it harder to do this, and they don't pay you. And they have just like over the last 40 plus years have completely dismantled the education system. And then they turn around and say, whoa, our education system is so terrible. Let us make it better by eliminating it and creating charter schools.
Right.
So it's like from the outside, maybe you're like, yeah, the public school system sucks anyways. But like the alternative of not having one is not better. Like it'd be better to just try to improve what we have. Don't let them trick you into thinking that like eliminating this entire thing just because it's not working perfectly is a better solution.
Right.
You know, because it's never going to be.
Right. We're going to be on a list after this episode.
I don't give a shit. Put me on a fucking list. I'm already on a list.
All right.
At least 4.
After Peter the Dolphin.
Yeah, Peter the Dolphin was what did it. Okay, also, Brick and Connor talked about Peter the Dolphin. They didn't go into the explicitness of it, which I think is the difference.
Yeah.
But on a recent episode I was listening to, Connor is talking about Peter the Dolphin. I'm like, oh, so Connor can say it. But no, he didn't really kind of go into the ins and outs. So
yeah, I think that's
the difference.
So back to RFK.
Sure.
Eliminating the use of some petroleum-based food dyes, eliminating the use of some pesticides. He wants to make school lunches healthy again. I don't know what that means.
What does he mean by that?
What does he? Yeah, that's the thing. Is all these vague terms? What is there a plan? No, there's no plan.
Because they don't want to give kids free school lunches.
No.
So if they actually cared about kids having healthy lunches, they would give them lunches begin with.
Right. It's the way that all of this sounds good, but how are you going about it?
They're gonna be sucking on cloves,
removing,
and that's all they're gonna have.
You have 3 cloves. For lunch.
Your daily allotment of cloves sucking.
He wants to remove other things that are not as great are removing fluoride from the water, which is really healthy for our teeth. But that's like a classic conspiracy, like fluoride, you know?
That blocks your third eye.
He is just a conspiracy theorist. He's not like any sort of intelligent human being.
Yeah.
And if he was, the worm ate that part.
Exactly.
Right.
Long ago.
Long ago.
I bet dentists are psyched,
Yeah,
though.
dentists are really... No, they're not, because they're going to be a bunch of...
Well, the slimy, I should say. The
slimy ones,
dentists are going to be great.
The American Dental Association is really upset about it because, one, fluoride has been used for years and years and years. There's been a bunch of research about it. We could talk about it later. But fluoride is good for your teeth, especially for kids who are more prone to cavities, or maybe they don't have access to good milk and healthy food that's good for your teeth. At least you can have fluoride, which will help prevent cavities.
You're right. I meant the corrupt dentists will be psyched because more business for them because our teeth will be worse. So
we're going to have a bunch of kids with no teeth is what's going to happen.
Yeah. Denture business. Get in on the bottom floor, guys.
Yeah.
Veneers, dentures. It's a good time.
There you go.
Go back to dentist school.
The other thing is he really wants to overhaul the SNAP program, which is food stamps. And
poor people have too much access to food.
Right.
I've always said that.
Yeah. And he wants to specifically make sure that they don't eat processed foods and soda and buy candy with SNAP funds, which is okay, but what about people who live in food deserts where processed foods are? And he's like, and didn't have that's kind of how so if you're not familiar with RFK, he's a really weird speaking mannerism.
It's very tight.
I
kind of like Parkinson's-esque.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very, very tight and strained voice. Yeah.
There's a TikToker who I can't stop watching who does a really good RFK impersonation. Maybe I'll just repost all of his stuff after this episode's released because it's, one of the things that just a win's a win, right?
We gotta get our kicks in where we can,
Yeah, he's a terrible person. He's making, so we're getting off topic. There's so much to discuss.
We're not getting off topic. We're talking about RFK.
Fuck this guy. The other thing is he wants to cut funding for gender-affirming care for adolescents. Which he calls gender mutilation, which I'm really upset about.
So I wonder where he stands on the people who access gender-affirming care more than anyone, which is boys who have excess breast tissue. Or men who get hair transplants, women who get breast implants.
Let's talk about Elon and his obvious hair transplant.
Yeah, and whatever. I've heard that he has a botched penis implant, and that's part of why he
looks like a corpse that's been floating in water for a while.
He looks like a car. He looks like he got stuck halfway through becoming a transformer. He looks like he started to transform and he was like, this is good enough.
And then he was soaking in a pool of water for a month.
Yeah, he's definitely taken on water.
Right. Yeah. He needs a diuretic, really.
And it's not even we're making fun of a fat person because he's not fat. It's he has a body shape that is unlike any other human's body shape. The way he is shaped is not like any other person, so this couldn't even hurt someone's feelings because no other human has ever been built like Elon Musk,
It just goes to show you can have all the money in the world and still be an uggo.
Yeah. Truly. He has billions of dollars. He's had countless surgeries. He still looks like that.
Yeah.
So
unfortunate.
Should
have just kept your old body.
Yeah, but I'm glad he got those hair plugs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So back to autism.
Great.
One of the other things that Maha aims to do is find the cause and subsequent cure for autism, which is so problematic. We're going to talk about it.
It's a brain type. You can't cure it.
It's
Curing just means killing or aborting.
Exactly. But they're not. No, we don't like abortions, right?
Abortion.
In this country,
But also let them be born first, and then once they get diagnosed with autism, cut their heads off.
No, they're just going to let them
camp.
a work camp or starve. So one of the things is that they want to find this cure for autism. In one of his speeches, RFK cites that the rates of autism in American youth have increased to 1 in 31 children.
Oh my God, if you diagnose more people, there's more people that diagnosis? Holy shit.
Right. And then 1 in 20 for just boys, which is true. And most, if not all, scientific bodies have said that this is most likely due to the new diagnostic guidelines that were from 2013 or 2015, I can't remember, and that better ways of detecting it, if you detect it better, you're gonna find more autism.
No shit.
And I also me personally, I believe that we just also have this increased awareness of medical bias, sexism, racism that has also led to increased diagnostic rate.
For sure, yeah.
For sure. Are we perfect? No. But are we better than like the 1960s? For sure.
Yeah. And it's like a super basic aspect of just like common sense to understand that if you have more sensitive requirements for who qualifies under diagnosis, you're going to have more people who qualify for a diagnosis. Just think about it for 2 seconds.
He doesn't believe this because once again, he's a conspiracy theorist. He's not a scientist and he's not a medical practitioner. He does not know anything.
Yes.
He's just a conspiracy theorist.
And ableist.
An ableist.
Wants to eliminate
which is funny
people.
Because I would call him disabled.
He has a communication disability.
Very much so.
Very least, and that's not even mentioning
very
brainworm.
much so.
Yeah, exactly. This guy's off his rocker.
No. So despite what most, if not all, modern medical research says, RFK is determined that autism is a disease that can be cured. He believes, and I'm paraphrasing / quoting here. I forget which ones are quotes and which ones are paraphrases, but he believes that autism is a preventable disease caused by an environmental toxin exposure, which is like so very conspiracy theory.
Yes. He's really ruined conspiracy theory.
He's like the worst conspiracy theorist.
Conspiracy theories used to be fun.
They used to be fun. Before they got political.
I know.
Yeah.
It used to be like about aliens or whatever the fuck. Now it's like we should put autistic people in externment camps.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
And then just as a cautionary tale, little content warning, I'm going to be quoting things that he says, and they're so ableist and disgusting when he's talking about autistic people that I'm just, heads up.
Yeah.
Totally get it if you want to just skip through the next like 10 minutes.
Or this whole episode, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. It'll be better. We'll do a happy one next time. Yeah. But yeah, I get it. It's going to be, it's tough. It made me upset. I didn't sleep well last night because I was just mad.
I feel like that's part of why we're cracking so many jokes this episode, because like ultimately this stuff is so ridiculous and we all know that it's just inaccurate.
It's so cartoonishly bad.
Yes.
You know, it's so like villain-esque.
Yes. And just stupid. And like it's just stupid. Not based in science. It's just dumb.
Right. Especially when you take over like the medical scientific hub of America. It's just anyway.
Yeah, but if you don't laugh, you cry, you know? So we gotta crack some jokes.
Yeah, if we're not laughing, we're crying. And like maybe I'll cry later today.
Yeah.
But
it's not because we're taking this subject lightly. It's because we all know that this is not how autism works. We all know that this is eugenics and it's scary. And I feel like the best thing we can do is kind of laugh at how fucking stupid they are, stupid. You know? Because otherwise we'll scream.
Yeah, yeah.
And we won't stop.
So when asked about like, what about the genetic component to autism that's been like wildly documented? Sorry, I know, I can't. Here we go.
I don't even want to hear
this.
I know.
He goes, why aren't we seeing elderly people with autism, you know, head banging and toe walking, which he brings up multiple times.
Oh my God, your grandpa has a stamp collection, I bet.
I know. So here's my thought. It's multifactorial, right? So one, there are many people with autism. They probably are just lower support needs who wouldn't fit the old diagnostic criteria or just haven't been diagnosed.
Yep. Or they were locked in an asylum.
That's
literally
number 2.
Put in asylums.
Higher support needs the headbanging and toe walking, they did exist, but in the 60s, which he keeps like going back to JFK's era, they were locked into an asylum with no supports and probably, unfortunately, didn't make it or were sent away and never heard from again, you know?
And also there's someone in the Kennedy family, Rosemary,
with
JFK's sister, who was lobotomized.
And she wasn't even disabled.
She was literally just like an outspoken woman.
Yes. They were like, get rid of her.
Back then, you could just, if you were a woman, you could just be put in an institution if you're
we
if a man
do a
said.
Patreon on her.
Yes, we do.
I think we should. It's
so,
really
like,
horrific.
This is horrific for anyone to say, but especially someone who has like a very famous case of a woman being lobotomized in the 60s. How can you say, like, where are all the headbanging autistic elderly people? They were lobotomized. They were institutionalized.
They were put away. They were killed.
They were sent away to institutions. They're probably homeless on the streets if they didn't die.
Right. And they died from exposure. They died from starvation. They died.
Yes.
Right? That's why we don't see them in the nursing homes, because they don't exist anymore, but they existed at one point.
Either that or they're working on a huge spoon collection, you know?
Right.
Those are the two sides. Yeah.
Exactly. So it drives me nuts when he says this, because he's just so wrong.
I hate when they pretend like they're asking a legitimate question, but it's like, well, if they think it's like a gotcha of like, then how come we don't see any toe walkers?
There's a very obvious reason why. It's like, because they died.
The source, think about it for 2 seconds.
Yeah, just take a moment.
Think about it.
Just take a moment.
Yeah.
Use that noggin, what's left of it.
Yeah, I know the worm's done
really,
quite a bit of damage, yeah.
But if you could just rub 2 neurons together.
Yeah, before the worm gets them.
Yeah.
Because he's coming. He's coming.
He's coming after those last 2.
Yep.
The biggest issue with RFK's stance on autism is that he really sees autistic people as less than human. And this is definitely a paraphrase, but his big quote that's in all of the news articles is on PBS, CNN, and Publico, and I have all the sources there. But basically he's saying autism destroys families. Children have regressed into autism due to an environmental exposure at like 2 years old.
What do you... when we diagnose autism, that's why.
These children will never pay taxes. They'll never hold a job. They'll never play baseball. They'll never write a poem. They'll never go on a date. They'll never use a toilet without a system.
Oh my God.
Without assistance.
How does he know about my toilet assistant?
Super problematic, right?
Someone's been wiping me.
Why is he looking at people using the toilet?
Yeah. I never got to play baseball. Thanks, autism.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't wrote a poem.
Oh my God, autism.
Damn it.
I haven't paid my taxes in years. Thanks a lot, autism.
So problematic for many reasons, right? One, he's seeing autistic people as less than human. He's seeing them at basically summarizing this group of people on their ability to contribute to a capitalistic society, because it always comes back to capitalism when you're in a late stage capitalistic era, right? So
I mean, that's where the term Asperger's even came from, is from Hans Asperger, who determined that some
who was
autistic...
a Nazi?
Yes. Famous Nazi doctor Hans Asperger, which is why we don't say Asperger's anymore, but current day Nazis like Elon Musk still love to use that word.
Mm-hmm.
But they literally determined that some autistic people were worth saving because they could contribute to capitalism. So they decided to keep those ones, and those were the ones with Asperger's. So yeah, it's like, not only are you just kind of making this huge overarching statement for all autistic people, as if we don't have like wildly different levels.
As if there's not like a huge, very complex spectrum.
It's kind of like famous for that. But also you're saying that humans are only valuable when they can write a poem and like pay taxes.
Right.
Like you place such a low value on human life. Like even if someone does need help with the toilet the rest of their lives and they never go on a date, are they not worthy of being alive?
There's a lot of elderly people who are RFK's age who need help going to the bathroom.
I bet he needs help. Our president shits his pants in diapers. Right. Trump wears diapers.
And he shits himself all the time.
He's literally sitting in poopy diapers. Like half the time you see him talking, he's got a shit-filled diaper. And that's not me being mean, and that's not me just saying it, making fun of him. He legitimately wears diapers.
Evidence.
There is evidence. He's sitting on
You
big
even
old
have
poop piles.
MAGA people wearing diapers because he's wearing diapers, which is...
It's like the emperor's new clothes or whatever, where it's like, what are we doing? But yeah, even if you are very, very disabled by your autism and you aren't able to hold a job, okay, you are still a human.
You're still
a
human
life.
Who deserves life and deserves rights and deserves to be treated like a human.
Exactly.
So that's basically, so a lot of people, so Autism Speaks, the Autism Association of America or something, And many autistic people have come out and said, like, wow, this is like super terrible.
Autism Speaks is like, we just stopped trying to cure autism like 4 years ago.
We've been over
We're
this.
the good guys. Get with the program.
Fuck you. We've been over this. Stop copying us.
Yeah, exactly. Move on from your eugenics. We did.
Yeah, so one, there is a very well-established link, including twin studies correlating genetics with autism. And two, the whole, like, autistics are a burden to society and aren't human.
Who's going to create your train systems, you know?
Right.
Like, fuck you.
Right. And so what is his plan to, like, tackle autism?
Literally, he's going to be tackling autism. He'll be out in the park
with the tacklers.
Yeah.
Not
He'll
associated.
be tackling autistic people. Yeah.
His plan is to make an autism study, which is literally what it's called, which would look at not only maternal and paternal factors that could potentially lead to autism, like obesity and diabetes, which has never been shown before. Yeah, he thinks that maybe if the parents have, which wouldn't that also be like kind of like epigenetics, right? So wouldn't it be? But he wants to look at like obesity and diabetes in maternal and paternal factors.
Yeah, that's just epigenetics. It's not tied to
exactly.
autism.
As well as environmental exposures. He's very big on it has to be, he keeps saying like it has to be an environmental.
What does he think it is?
He thinks, so what?
You can't just say environmental factors. What?
So I wasn't going to get into this, but here we go. Okay. So he is a really big anti-vax guy. He was just had a hearing about it in front of Congress about this. And when he was being like elected as HHS, they were very upset because he is anti-vax. And if you're going to be in front of the people and leading people like the CDC who are in charge of like vaccine schedules, you know, you shouldn't be anti-vax.
Oh God,
he's been anti-vax for a really
taking orders from this guy,
right? So he's been anti-vax for a really long time. His big thing is a chemical called thimerosal, which is a chemical preservative in the vaccines, specifically in the MMR vaccine, measles, mumps, and rubella. But the content of thimerosal is so low and has been proven over and over and over again. Because thimerosal is a mercury component into it. So mercury's not great, but like mercury's in fish and mercury, you know, it's probably in the water we drink. It's not great, but in small amounts, it's probably going to be harmless.
It's better than measles.
It's better than measles, which has been proven time and time again. So not only is he a big component of like, so I think what he thinks is that thimerosal is the cause of autism.
Why doesn't everyone get autism then? If it gives you autism, why is it only some people and not everyone?
So that's what I think personally, but obviously he doesn't want to come out as it because it makes him look bad, because it should.
Yes,
because it's
stupid.
Stupid science. It's not even science. It's a conspiracy theory.
There is so much science and research that has already happened and is already happening in the areas of autism and vaccines. Like, why do you have to eliminate everything and be like, we're going to do these studies?
Environmental
What
exposure.
if you just ask the people who are already studying these things?
Right.
Who are doctors.
Oh my God, they're all at the INH. And then you just fired everybody there and got rid of thousands of dollars of funding. So yeah, anyway, why would we do that when we can hire
an army of brainworms?
So worse. So instead,
worse than an army of brainworms.
Worse than an army of brainworms. And listening to like actual scientists who are already doing the research and experts in the field, he's put a guy in charge named David Geyer, who one, doesn't have a medical license.
Perfect.
And two, used to work with his dad, who I hope is dead, but I'm not sure, who does have a medical license. It's been either revoked or suspended in over 10 states because his work has been deemed fraudulent and dishonest.
Oh my God.
And not only that, but they used to do all these studies in literally their basement with wall-to-wall carpeting. John Oliver talks about this. It's so bad. So not only that, but they're going to get this guy who's not a doctor, who's not a scientist, who's doing fraudulent work to be in charge of the autism study.
Great.
He
knows best.
I literally have in all caps, great.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Great. I'm really excited to see where this goes.
We are so smart as a country. We are headed towards the future.
Get the best of the best in charge here.
Yeah, get behind us, guys. We'll lead you into the next century.
So not good, right? That's his plan, is to have them. And the other thing that he looked at that was criticized heavily is he's like, we're going to have answers by September. I'm like, by September, you're not even going to have like the grant paperwork in place to have the funding to do this study, you know?
Because he doesn't want to actually study it. He just wants to eliminate
answers. So now he's kind of retracted that. He's like, maybe in like June of next year. That's still crazy to think that not only you're going to have a cause for autism when people have been studying this for decades.
And you're starting from nothing.
Starting from nothing.
Not a doctor.
Wiped out your entire department that's already been doing research on that forever.
Yep.
Great. Really excited about the way that this country is going. So anyway,
we're as stupid as ever.
We are not good.
What's
the state of America? Not good.
Not good. We're not doing well.
Real bad.
Have you heard anything about how Elon Musk feels about this whole thing? Because like he is autistic.
I don't give a shit.
I know they're all monsters.
I hope he dies.
But I hope he dies too. Put that on my gravestone.
Yeah.
That I hope
we're going to be on a list.
I don't care. We're on the list.
We're on
Accept
the list.
it. We're already on the list. This isn't the first time we're ranting about this. The Palestine, saying we're pro-Palestine got us on a list long ago, and I'm not going to apologize for being against genocide or my taxes funding a genocide.
So,
but yeah, I would be curious to hear Elon Musk's take on this because it's like two monsters.
Right.
One monster offending the other monster.
I don't think he has any sort of empathy, so I don't think he cares. Because I think he only cares about money.
He's probably like, but I have Asperger's.
Yeah, I'm different. I'm a special boy.
Yeah, I'm
looks like
Doc MAGA.
Yeah. Oh,
Doc MAGA.
So
dork.
Yeah. So there's a lot of criticisms for this new plan.
Not from us.
Yeah.
We're on board, but
I think one, not seeing disabled and chronically ill people as human, that's a big no.
Yeah.
That's a big NO for me.
Yeah, hard no on that.
I think the thing that's going to be most devastating for America as a whole is this like mass taking away of resources. Even if we were able to give everything back today, the damage has been done.
Yes.
And we probably won't know about it today or tomorrow, but in the next coming months, we're going to find out real soon.
Because turns out the best way to keep people healthy is to give them health care.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Provide them with health care.
Right. So you're going to take, and he's like, we're going to make America healthy again. And you might, but it's at what cost? It's all these chronically ill and disabled people dying. And I honestly think a little bit of me, and maybe this is a conspiracy theorist of me, but maybe that's the point. The whole point is to take care, to do away with all these life-saving resources to basically do away with all of these chronically ill and disabled people and leave only like the able body behind.
And then you're like, oh, look, we cured everyone. But it's like, no, you just killed the disabled
You've killed
people.
In a horrible way of them either dying from starvation, not being able to get life-saving treatments and medication, not being able to get to their doctor's appointments. You know, it's really, it's a very insidious way of going about it.
I mean, the first people killed in the Holocaust were disabled people. It was disabled people and trans people. So also when you hear all the discussions about trans rights and trans people and protecting trans people, whether you think that doesn't have anything to do with your life or not, it does. And they always start with the most marginalized amongst us to see what they can get away with.
They'll come for you eventually.
Yeah. If they're coming for them, it's only a matter of time until you're next. And like, that's not meant to scare you. It's just kind of meant to tell you the truth of how that works. They're not going to, once they eliminate trans people, they're not just going to be like, all right, we're good. Job's done. Yeah. There's always going to be more and more people that don't fit this perfect model of who they think should be the perfect human. And so they're always going to tighten that group and make it smaller and smaller, which means fewer and fewer people fit inside it.
Yeah.
So trans rights are human rights. Trans rights are women's rights. We should care about trans people, not just because it affects us, but also because they are people and deserve rights like anyone else, just like disabled people, just like anyone of any group. But also, if you have to be selfish about it, it impacts you as well. So, like, care about it either way.
How about care about
you? How about
people
you just care about
humans
other people?
Are humans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Humans are humans.
Humans are humans, and they should be treated as such. You know,
a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one has more of a right to be here than anyone else.
Right.
You know, like you not being born with a disability doesn't mean that you're more deserving of a good life.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Your Christian God wouldn't want that.
Yeah. Honestly, like I'm so atheist. But the only time any religion comes out of me is when like Christians are not following Christianity. I feel like I become a Bible thumper of like, God created us all in his image. And aren't we all a part of the universe? You know, it's like I start preaching on the pulpit.
But isn't that sad that you have to preach someone their own religion just so they can buy? I mean, I think most religions say like, be a good person, don't murder people.
In theory.
But it's interesting that like most wars have some sort of like religious component from them.
Yeah. It's really frustrating. I wish we could all kind of just take a step back and just start with the basics of like, we're all humans. Every living thing on this planet deserves the same rights and care and safety and protection. And like, let's start there and then work our way up.
Yeah. Usually I try to end these heavy episodes of like, what can we do? And honestly,
Scream.
Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss of, I feel like the system's so broken. What can we do besides like get out there and vote? But like, I don't know.
When everything is so corrupt, voting does nothing. Like,
I don't know what the solution is. It's kind of sad that I don't think that this is a fixable thing.
No. Leave the US if you can. Not that everyone should abandon ship, but like if you have the resources, and especially if you yourself are autistic, or especially if you have an autistic child or a trans child, or you're a black person or a person of color, or
it's not going to be a great environment. But like,
for so many people.
My other thing is that like we're not the only place that's being like radicalized like this, right? There's other countries too that are undergoing this kind of like far right radicalization. Yeah. So even if you do leave the country, it's not something you're going to be able to escape from. So, you know, I know our international listeners are probably listening being like, what the fuck? But like, you know, it's honestly probably going to come for you too eventually, as it did in World War II. Yep. You know, it's concerning.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of countries already have like fascist aspects, you know, like I saw some Australians being like, oh my God, thank God we're in Australia, not the US. It's like, bitch, you have so much racism there. You have so much like misogyny, a lot of right-wing politicians there. This isn't just an American problem.
It's not a good look for America right now, but it's not that it's an isolated issue.
Yes, it's coming for everyone, unfortunately. For everybody,
if it's not already there. We're just like really out and proud about it, apparently.
Yeah.
In like
we are
the
psyched
worst
about it.
way possible.
Yes. But we have like such a dominating position within the world that unfortunately other countries are going to be impacted by this.
It's not great.
No.
It's not a good look.
No.
For Earth.
Yeah, just for Earth in general. So if you could leave Earth, that's a solution.
Yeah. I don't know.
Get out of here.
I figured like maybe the moon's probably too close by association, but maybe Mars.
No, Elon's going there.
I thought Elon was going to the moon.
I think he's going to Mars. Is he going to the moon?
I hope he goes to the sun.
God,
burns up
please.
In flames. God, he can take all of his cronies with him.
Take them.
Take Doge.
Yeah. They should do another submarine trip.
Oh, yeah. It's a company outing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll fund it.
Sponsored by Ocean Gate.
Yeah, please. God, we'll all chip in.
Man. Yeah, I'd donate to that.
Same.
Yeah, a GoFundMe.
Yeah. But I would say be aware. Just like be aware of it. We're not saying like be scared and run around like a chicken with your head cut off. But like it's good to be aware of. That this is happening.
Yeah. And it's hard to just like... You know, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. You know, I think it's so broken.
Yep.
And what do you do? I don't know what we can do.
Communities. Focus on building community within your areas. That's really like literally the only thing that we have control and power over. And it's one of the only things that we can actually do to make a difference is to like strengthen your communities around you. Because if you think about it, you know, services are taken away from autistic kids. Okay, I, for example, am someone who could provide kids with services. Like there are just so many people and supports and opportunities for like safety and connection when you do build that community, you know, because there are people who have more privileges than others, people who are going to suffer more than others. And the more we can like come together as individuals, that's kind of the only avenue we have for taking away their power, you know, because there are more of us than there are of them. They're just way more powerful. And we all have been led to believe like we're just so individualistic that we don't focus on community, and they've removed all of our community essentially. And so focusing on strengthening your community and figuring out like who has different resources, start bartering, start just like developing those connections with people, checking on your elderly neighbors, like checking on people who are overwhelmed by a baby or a kid who has like higher needs. That's kind of one of the only possible things we could do other than like leave Earth. And also, I know I said this last episode, but just to emphasize again, if you don't need an autism diagnosis right now, I would refrain from getting one.
At least in America. Yeah,
yes.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a great idea. I think it's hard because I think currently, you are able to get resources for like your child at school.
Yes.
You have an IEP. I think that'd be really helpful.
Yes.
I think you should get what you need currently. I think if you're an adult who's been kind of seeking answers.
Yeah, for like peace of mind.
Maybe just leave it at your own discovery.
Yeah. Because there's not really many resources out there.
There's
anyways,
not a lot of resources. Like we said kind of earlier, there's no pill a doctor can give me.
Oh,
that's going to help me with my social skills.
With your social skills. Yeah.
I think if it really helps with your peace of mind, sure. I just would currently in this state.
Yeah.
I would double check whether that's really necessary for you, just given that this is the way our country is currently going.
Yeah. And there are ways you can accommodate yourself, even if you're feeling like a fraud and you have self-diagnosed with autism and you're like second guessing yourself, regardless, you can accommodate yourself. If you think you are autistic and you're not taking anything away from anyone, you can give yourself those accommodations. And maybe you're not autistic, but maybe those accommodations benefit you. So like, okay, as long as you're not walking around saying, I'm autistic and I'm the representation of autism, like you're allowed to accommodate your needs in whatever way you find helpful. So there are lots of supports you can give yourself without needing that like official documentation.
Ugh.
Yeah.
This has been depressing.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Probably our most depressing episode yet. More depressing than depression.
There was that episode where we talked about the genocide. So there's that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Depression, addiction. We're doing some heavy apps.
Yeah.
But
here we are.
We're chugging through.
Yeah. It's a necessary thing we have to talk about. I thought it was important.
Yes.
Grace, you also thought it was important.
Yes. I'm glad you made us do this because we need to talk about it, but it's infuriating.
Those like 3 hours of YouTube I'll never get back. So
let's go have a good scream after this.
Yeah.
Let's go scream in the cemetery.
Ooh.
Some raspy voices.
Oh. We'll finally sound like JFK.
Perfect. RFK.
Or RFK, whatever.
Please.
But first, you want to talk about our cutest bod to date?
Well, yeah, let's wrap things down and say thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to this heavy episode.
Yeah.
Once again, we're Weirds of a Feather, an AuDHD-Adjacent podcast.
If you have any like words of comfort or safety or advice or just like your own
maybe we can even do like an episode on ways to like self-accommodate yourself.
Yeah. Or if you want to rant about this topic and you like have no one to scream with,
I'll give you
if
you want to rant about RFK, I will give you my personal phone number.
Yes.
Maybe not, but probably.
But maybe.
And we can talk about it together.
Yes, because we know just how challenging and dystopian and upsetting this stuff is, and we're all trying to find a balance of like not just tuning it out because we need to be paying attention, and there are things that we can do of, calling our senators and writing emails and speaking to people, but like ultimately it's very much out of our control and there's only so much we can do. So it's important to like try to find the balance of being informed but not letting it just take over your entire life, because we can't be helpful to the revolution if we're like just so anxious and upset. It's joy is the antithesis of fascism. So you're not ignoring things and you're not doing anything wrong by like still building in moments of joy and happiness and peace and laughter, because like some of the biggest activists will say that joy is an act of revolution because that's what they want to take away from us, So try to find moments to smile or laugh in between the crying and the screaming and the throwing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So follow us on all the find us on the socials.
Yeah, all the
socials, and you guys know.
Yeah, DM us, and we've got a website. That's great.
Yeah, it's out there.
It's
all right.
out there.
Let's get into that cutest bird ever.
I want your bod.
Nice bod. You're right.
That feels wrong saying that after that episode. But yeah. We talked about this bird before on a Pizza Secret. We're talking about the button quail, which is like the tiniest little bird ever.
It's a little
guy. I highly recommend going on YouTube and like watching this little guy, or TikTok. There's a bunch of button quail TikTok.
Yes.
Adorable.
Find the good videos of them being compared to different small objects like buttons and quarters.
There's a guy on TikTok who just has a bunch of button quail.
Yes.
And they're babies. And he just has a hallway and he just like walks from one end and then you see all the babies walk and follow him. And I'm like, this is my dream.
I know. I want to cry. It's so cute. I don't know what to do with myself.
Cute.
Yeah.
So button quails, they're native to East India. or East Asia, I'm sorry, which may include India, they can get up to 20 to 50 grams, which is 0.7 to 1.5 ounces.
Oh my God.
I know. Adorable.
Eeny.
And they get, in length, they get either 7.6 to 12.7 centimeters or 3 to 5 inches.
Oh my God.
So they're tiny. Tiny little guys.
That is tiny. And that's like at their biggest.
The 5 inches would be their max.
I was going to say, that sounds
That's
huge.
I don't even know.
That seems way too big.
Button quail.
Because they start off like 1 inch.
Oh, that's just regular quails.
I was going to say, that sounds like a regular.
That's regular quails. That's not even button quails.
I need the button quail measurements.
I need button quail measure. Hold on.
Forget baby dimensions. I need button quail measurements.
They're as small as a sparrow, rarely over 4 inches in height. And that's from www.grit.com.
Yeah.
Rural American know-how.
Yeah. Real Americans.
Real Americans.
Know the size of button quails.
Yeah. Yeah, I think 4 inches is like their max.
I feel like a fucking hulk of a button.
They only
quail.
live for 4 years.
That seems like a long time for a little guy.
Yeah. Poor little guys. So yeah, so they're this like brown color with like black and lighter brown speckles, and that helps them camouflage in with the forest floor. They're really good at camouflaging. They're like a little hobbit, you know? Hobbits are really good at hiding.
Yes.
Yes, I know you're very familiar. They're just pretty adorable. I highly recommend after this episode.
Yes, if you need a smile,
go on Button Quail TikTok. They're really,
Yes.
really cute. But let's hear one and let's go from there.
Please. That's pretty good.
I'm a Button Quail pro.
You are.
Yeah.
BQP. I've always said that about you. Can't go as high. You got it.
I'm down.
I think you nailed it.
I need to get these buttons. These are too
You need to get some quails.
I gotta get some
I need to talk you into getting quails?
I think I need to be talked into getting quails.
Yes.
No, I think
Keep
we're
the
maxed
cycle
out.
going.
Keep
Yeah, it's like the ring, you know?
right, 7 days
Yeah,
until you
7
get
days
button quail.
To get your own button quail, yeah. And the cycle continues.
They're so stinking cute.
They're so
little.
cute.
No, we have too many cats in our neighborhood for button quail, but they're very cute.
They are.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
that's been our show.
Okay, see ya.
Bye.